Hi, everybody. Not to be Debbie Downer, but I'm just going to go through some of the end time headlines again. Headlines that you're not going to probably see on mainstream media, but you might. But Putin claims that Russia is constructing the new world order right now. Vladimir Putin has accused Western leaders of clinging to the shadows of the past as he creates a new world order with his invasion of Ukraine. The world will not be as it was before the special operation, Putin said in his speech. All right, I'm not going to read much more than that. I'm going to go back to the headlines. Prophecy Watch, another hook. Oh, come on. Here we go. Another hook in the jaw of Magog. Israel becomes gas supplier to Europe. This is kind of interesting. As a kid, in the 70s and 80s, I remember that the adults around me had a standard explanation for why so many countries around the world kept Israel at arm's length. It was, they said, it was called the oil weapon. The Arab countries were sitting upon lots of oil and could raise prices sharply and without warning if they were affronted by something that Israel said or did. They did this exactly in the fall of 73 when Israel fought another war of survival against a combined Arab military force. During that conflict, the Arab exporting nations hiked the price of oil by 70% and cut back on the production in a bid to wean those countries supportive of Israel away from the Jewish state. And then, so let's go down here a little bit. Let's see. All right, it's going more into, if you want to see the whole story of any of these, just go to headline news and end time headline news, sorry. Gunmen attack 2 churches in Nigeria. I'm going to go past that one. A major general has just warned that Russia is preparing for big colossal war with NATO. Okay, that's another headline. I don't really want to get into that one either. This one's kind of sad. Avian flu is now posing elevated dangers to other mammals. Something was wrong with the foxes. That's what callers to Dane County Humane Society in Wisconsin kept saying in April as they reported fox kits or young foxes behaving in strange ways, shaking, seizing, or struggling to stand. That's sad. The kits, which were often lethargic and wandering by themselves, also seemed unusually easy to approach, showing little fear of humans. Aw, they're probably sick, not feeling good, and that's why they didn't care. They kept getting calls. The kits were quiet and withdrawn. They stumbled around, their heads ticking, their eyes flicking rhythmically. They ruled out rabies, low blood sugars, and other potential causes. And then they found it was a highly virulent strain of avian influenza. I don't want that. I do not want that. It's a type of bird flu. It's known as H5N1, and it's been spreading rapidly in the United States this spring, infecting flocks of poultry in 36 states and prompting mass culls of domestic birds. But this virus appears to be taking a much greater toll on wild birds than previous lineages have. Okay, so I'm not going to read all that either. I'm done with that one. That's sad. Now, this Yellowstone flooding is really amazing in itself. And experts are saying, that Yellowstone flooding is a sign of more disasters to come. On June 13th, 2021, a fire that would eventually burn through 45 square miles of land and destroy 7 homes broke out near Red Lodge, Montana. On Monday, June 13th, 2022, an influx of water from a combination of rain and melting snow pushed Yellowstone River tributary Rock Creek over its banks and into the Red Lodge, damaging an estimated 250 homes. It's unprecedented flooding in and around Yellowstone Park. Several spots received 2 to 5 inches of rain from the 10th to the 13th of June, and that's 2 to 4 times the norm for the entire month. This kind of weather whiplash is likely to happen more often as temperatures, rain, and other factors become more extreme due to climate change. Okay, there's more. All right. Some of this stuff I'm not going to touch right now. This is buffering. But guys, I'm telling you, this is like end time stuff here. This is every day there's like 5 or 6 new. Over $3 trillion in retirement savings has been gone. Metaverse launching digital clothing. I don't know if you heard about the 66-year-old man. He was banned from giving blood because he would not answer if he was pregnant or not. Okay, Disney, there's stuff going on in there. If the streets of America are this chaotic now, what will they be like when things really start hitting the fan? This was June 18th. If you're not alarmed by what's happening to our largest cities, you should check to see if you still have a pulse. Once upon a time, the beautiful new cities that our forefathers constructed were the envy of the entire planet, but now many of them have degenerated into crime-infested hellholes that are absolutely teeming with violent predators. Shoplifting has essentially become a national pastime. Open-air drug markets operate freely right under the noses of indifferent authorities. And addicts pull down their pants and go to the bathroom whenever they feel like doing so. I didn't know that was in there. So guys, things are going to get worse. Of course it's going to wax worse. We are in the end of times. It's just obvious. Never in my life have I seen so much. And there's more, as you can see. Transit crime surged by 53.6%. In Portland, voters decided to decriminalize hard drugs, and it just turned their city into an open-air drug market. What are people thinking? I know what they're thinking. I got an idea what they're thinking. Okay, there's more. Not going to read it. The hoofbeats of the Four Horsemen, I think I'm going to stop at this one, are getting louder as we near the time of the end. Those of us eagerly awaiting Jesus' appearing did not expect to see so many signs of the coming kingdom of the Antichrist before going home to be with our Savior. We never anticipated seeing so much vile wickedness and demonic deception before the rapture. For that matter, I assumed that the Lord would severely judge America long before now. With such failed expectations, one might ask, why do I believe Jesus will soon appear to take us home? Why do I remain convinced that we will live in the season of his return for his church? It's because the world is so very close to the fulfillment of Revelation chapter 6, verses 1 through 8. And Scripture assures us that we will be with Jesus in heaven before these riders begin their deadly trek across planet Earth. Can you guess who wrote the following? I have heard the distant sound of hoofbeats. I have seen the evil riders on the horizons of our lives. I am still an evangelist whose one goal is to proclaim new life in Christ, but there is serious trouble ahead for our world, for all of us who live in it, and in the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, there is both a warning and a wisdom for those troubled days ahead. If these things were true back in 1983 when Billy Graham penned these words, how much more so today? How much more near are we to Jesus' appearing? What sounds do we hear today that point to the nearness of the Lord opening the seal of judgments of Revelations chapter 6? Revelations chapter 6, 1 through 2 tells us about the first seal, the first rider. Now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying with a voice like thunder, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a white horse. He who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer. Many, including me, believe these verses refer to the Antichrist bringing the world together under his rule. The absence of an arrow in the bow points to the absence of force, although he will gather an impressive arsenal of weapons during this campaign. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 1 through 8 assures us that the rapture will happen before this man of lawlessness makes his presence known on the world scene. However, we already see the formation of this coming new world order through the UN and the World Economic Forum without firing a shot. They have gained the allegiance of most world leaders for their Marxist plans to enslave the people of the world. Have you seen it, guys? Have you seen what's going on? Have you opened your eyes and seen what's going on? It should be very easy right now. Globalists no longer hide their intentions. The president recently asserted this allegiance, the New World Order. Klaus Schwab, the head of the WEF, recently asked the 2,600 delegates to his annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland, to work aggressively to bring about the communistic totalitarian agenda advocated by him as those in attendance. He opened the meeting by saying that the future is not just happening, the future is built by us, by a powerful community as you hear in this room. In other words, the globalists believe they have the means to reshape the world according to their agenda via the influence they have gained over the global leaders of our day. Can you hear the sound of the first horse getting ready to ride? Now, the second horse is that the War of John describes in Revelation 6, 4, and 5. When he opened the second seal, he heard the second living creature saying, "Come and see." Another horse, fiery red, went out, and it was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, and that people should kill one another, and that there was given to him a great sword. I'm old enough to remember the Cuban Missile Crisis in the early 60s. Okay, I'm going to skip that. I believe the threat today is at least equal to that time, if not far greater. But the mainstream media is diverting our attention away from the current and present danger to matters such as Pride Month and the January 6th hearing. And how about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial? That was very distracting, right? I was into it as well. Those who are truly awake today clearly see these looming threats to world peace. Russia's repeatedly warning the West and the United States of a nuclear attack if they keep supporting Ukraine. However, the Biden administration seems to be doing all that it can to provoke Putin into such an attack by increasing our flow of weapons to Ukraine. Iran is on the brink of developing its first nuclear weapon, with many believing that Israel will attack Iran before that happens. China appears intent on attacking Taiwan and is threatening an all-out war against anyone who interferes. The president says he will defend Taiwan, which would mean a war with China. North Korea has stepped up its testing of missiles during the past year and a half, demonstrating that it can hit North America with a nuclear bomb. When we put these threats together with the words of Revelation 6:8 that tell us war will play a part in killing a fourth of the world's population, it seems likely that perhaps one or more of these threats will happen. Do these dangers not beg the question regarding the nearness of the rapture? Could the saber rattling of Russia, China, and North Korea be the sound of the second horse getting ready to ride? Okay, I got to get through this ad. Sorry. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I knew this was going to happen. But are you guys actually listening to what is going on? This is, every day I wake up and there's headlines. And it goes all throughout the day. I get these headlines all throughout the day. I want to read. I could stop here, but I kind of wanted to go into the other horse. We were on the second rider, which was the red horse. And we need to... Come on, Jackie. Here we go. All right, here we go, guys. I'm sorry. Close your eyes a minute. I'm going to scroll really fast. I don't want you to get dizzy. Hold on. Okay. Where did we leave off at? Okay, hold on. Don't look. You're going to get... If you get dizzy, don't look. I'm scrolling really fast so I can get to the rest of them. All right, words of Revelation 6, 5, and 6 point to economic devastation. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine." If you think the world is not on the brink of the condition described in these verses, you're not paying attention. We are frightfully close. In the United States, the reported inflation rate for May was 8.6%, which is the highest in 40 years. And all I need to say before reading all this is that if you haven't noticed your grocery bill at least doubling, you're not paying attention, or you're not paying the grocery bill. I can tell everything has doubled or went up. Eggs, everything, coffee, everything. Goya Foods CEO Bob Unanu recently told Fox News that the world is on the brink of a food crisis. We are on the precipice of a global food crisis. JP Morgan Chase CEO recently warned about a coming economic hurricane. It's a hurricane right now. It's kind of sunny. Things are going fine. Everyone thinks the Fed can handle this. That hurricane is right out there down the road coming our way. We just don't know if it's a minor one or a superstorm Sandy or Andrew or something like that. You better brace yourself. Rockefeller Foundation president described what is soon to be unfold as a massive, immediate food crisis that will strike the entire world, leaving no country untouched. I have lost count of the many food processing plants that have gone up in flames during the past 12 months. Why do you think that is, guys? Do you think it's just act of nature? All the food processing plants going up? Baby food disappearing? Why are so many shepherds of our day ignoring the numerous warnings regarding the food catastrophe that's rapidly approaching? Do you not hear the sound of approaching hoofbeats? The unheeded warnings of a global holocaust. The fourth seal, he looked and behold a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him. And power was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill with sword and hunger, death, and by the beast of the earth. Right now, 1/4 of the world's population would be almost 2 billion people, and that's just as the beginning of the tribulation woes. A nuclear conflict could possibly kill hundreds of billions, and this threat looms as distinct possibility in the near future. It also is easy to see how the coming food crisis could kill a vast number of people. Africa would likely suffer the most at first, but as the contrived food crisis expands, the Western nations would soon see the death toll skyrocket. Those pushing the U.S. Green New Deal and the UN's Agenda 2030 warn that we will feel pain as the world transitions away from fossil fuels. The most certainly will include mass starvation, as green energy will not suffice to meet the needs of the world's population. It cannot even come close. Abortions reaching 1.7 billion since 1980. It's possible that the death toll during the seal judgment of Revelation 6 will equal the number of abortions in the modern era. God is sovereign, you guys. While it may seem that the human actors caused the devastation of the first 4 seals, we must remember that God is sovereign over all the affairs of mankind. It's the Lord who opens the seals and allows the destruction that follows. Numerous Old Testament prophets warned of these coming judgments under the heading of the Day of the Lord. There will be a time when God's patience ends and the words of Psalm 75:8 come to pass. The trumpet sounds is ever so close. It's only God's amazing patience that has kept the horsemen of Revelation 6 in their stalls during the 4 decades during Billy Graham when he wrote the approaching hoofbeats. How much longer will the Lord wait before he catches up in the air and later opens his seals? Will the rapture happen in the lifetime? I cannot say, but given the nearness of the coming time of tribulation, I certainly believe it's a valid and reasonable hope, even as this guy says he approaches 70 years of age. I'm going slow so you can read it if you want to. I just know it's getting long here. All right, guys. God help us. Lord, open our eyes to see. You got to see, guys. You've got to see. And that he didn't even cover everything that's happening. For the sake of offense, I won't even say. Although we should never worry about offending somebody when it's the truth and it's told in love. But guys, keep your eyes to the skies, but most importantly, pray. Tell one person at least about Jesus. I love you. God bless you, and have a wonderful day.